Welcome everyone. You are watching our Cincinnati APAC weekly call. I invite you to join our wellness professional presentation every Tuesday. Today is the third presentation for March, and the topic is enjoying optimal quality of life. What is your definition of quality of life? A luxury house? A beautiful wife? A handsome husband? A sexy body? Driving supercar? This may be your definition, but let's look at what the majority of the people think. So there are five key things that make their lives more enjoyable. Eat well, move well, poop well, sleep well, and feel well. So there is a very simple solution to help you achieving all of this, which is using our Cincino test-based, scientific proven nutritional products. So today I'm so excited to have Shane to talk about this topic. So let's talk about Shane's background. Shane got his master degree of science in nutrition from the Chinese University of Hong Kong. He is also a certified medical interpreter from Guangdong University of Foreign Studies, a certified heart med clinical intervention practitioner, a certified brain health coach, a qualified yoga and meditation teacher. And just now, he got his certification of ketogenic nutrition specialist. So without further ado, let's welcome Shane to teach you how to obtain your quality of life. Thank you, Shane, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Peter. Let me share my screen. So welcome everyone to tonight's or today's webinar, depending on where you are. Good day, good afternoon, or good evening. So today I'll be talking about how to enjoy optimal quality of life. I am Shane, so welcome and thank you for tuning in. Before we start, could you please read the disclaimer first, please? Okay, thank you. So here's a rundown of what I'm going to talk about. Well, Peter just gave it all away. So first of all, I'm going to be talking about what quality of life is, and then I'll be talking about 5 major areas that contribute to good quality of life, which are digestive health, bowel movement, mobility, sleep, and mental and cognitive health. So without further ado, let's get started. So what exactly is quality of life? Actually, there are many definitions. WHO has a really long definition, and there are many academic definitions as well, but I won't be talking about those today because I want it to be, like Peter said, actionable, practical, down to earth for everybody. So in simple terms, what my understanding of good quality of life is, you're able to carry out everyday activities comfortably and rather joyfully. So in other words, you eat well, you get the nutrients, the nutrition you need into your body, and then you poop well, you get the wastes that your body doesn't need out of your body, and then you move well, you exercise, you carry out the physical tasks that you need to do with ease, without pain, and then you rest well, you sleep well, you get the you get the rest and the recovery that your body needs. And finally, you think well, you have good cognitive abilities, and you feel well, you have good mood. So I think these are major areas of quality of life that everybody needs, because if you do well in these areas, I'm pretty sure that you lead a very good life. Of course, there are other areas that we might want to look at as well, but these are the major ones that we should be focusing on. And if if we can get these right, we'll be quite happy and quite comfortable in our life. So let's talk about the first area, eating well, which is digestive health. So when it comes to digestive health, one of the hottest areas of research these days is gut health. So when we talk about gut health, we talk about the microbiome, meaning the different bacteria in our gut. Actually, in our whole digestive systems, it's not just our gut, but the major ones are in the gut. So there are the good ones and the bad ones. And if there is an imbalance, we call it dysbiosis, but never mind the technical terms. What we need to know is we want more good bacteria in our gut than the bad ones, because the bad ones could cause inflammation. And so we want a good balance. And because the good bacteria can actually facilitate digestion and absorption. So if we have good gut health, then we will be absorbing the nutrients that our body needs better. So since this is already the 5th season, we've already covered a lot of basic grounds in terms of nutrition. So my presentation tonight or today is going to be more practical, more down to earth. So I'll be mainly sharing with you scientific research, scientific evidence that you can put to use right away. For example, if you want to share this information with a friend, or if you want to convince them to adopt a healthy lifestyle, this is what you need, because the figures, the numbers, the graphs are here for you to show them. So let's get to it. So the first nutrient that I would like to talk to you about is inulin. We've talked about this before. What is inulin? Inulin is actually what we call a prebiotic. Prebiotic, by definition, is a fiber that our body cannot digest, but it's actually food for the good bacteria in our gut. So it's good for us because it can feed the good bacteria in our gut. And in this study, the scientists used inulin, which is a major ingredient in our xenobiotic formula. They found that when you give inulin to overweight people who usually have an imbalance in their gut, you can increase the good bacteria in the gut drastically. So if we look at the graphs here, so bifidobacterium and lactobacillus, these are two classes of bacteria that are very good for our body because they can help us fight disease, they can increase our immunity, and they can also produce something called butyrate. Butyrate is a short chain fatty acid, but what you need to know is butyrate can kill cancer cells in our gut, so it can prevent colonic cancer and other cancers of the gut as well. So if you look at the graphs here, actually bifidobacterium, actually both classes of bacteria increased drastically, significantly in just 3 months' time. And by 6 months, the number increased to almost threefold. So it is a very, very good strategy to increase gut health. And that is inulin. Tonight, we will be talking a lot about inulin. And so even if you don't remember it now, it doesn't matter because you will later. Okay. So after talking about inulin, prebiotic, we know that prebiotic is refers to fiber or food items that our body cannot digest. But did you know that there are actually other prebiotics? For example, polyphenols have prebiotic properties, and even omega-3 fatty acids have prebiotic properties because they can both be digested by the bacteria in our gut. And what they can do is they can increase the diversity of microbes, diversity of bacteria in our gut, meaning there will be more types, different types of bacteria. And why is this relevant? Because diversity is the key to stability. What does that mean? Well, if you have more different types of bacteria in your gut, even if you occasionally eat something unhealthy, or if you fall ill and you have to take antibiotics, the effect will be less pronounced in your body than for somebody who does not have microbial diversity in their gut. So diversity is very important. And like we said, since they are both prebiotics, they both have prebiotic properties. They increase the probiotics, the good bacteria in our gut, and they also improved the insulin response. Now let's look at some graphs. So do you see CLEPT, clept here? It's a very important bacterium. Why is that? Because in people who have inflammatory bowel disease, I said I'll be talking about inflammation, right? And we've been talking about inflammation all the time because the balance oil helps you fight inflammation. Xenobiotic helps you fight inflammation. The polyphenols help you fight inflammation. So inflammation is actually at the very core of most diseases of civilization. And this particular bacterium is very, well, its numbers are very low in people who have inflammatory bowel disease. And here we see that there are 4 bars. The white bar refers to a diet low in polyphenol and low in omega-3. And then the light gray one is low in polyphenol, but high in omega-3. And then the darker gray one is high in polyphenol, but low in omega-3. But do you see, this is a 0 line, and only a diet high in both polyphenol and omega-3 actually increases the number of clept in your body, meaning that you can, if you take them both together, and where do you find polyphenols? In extent, you can find both water-soluble and fat-soluble polyphenols in this formula. And also in balance oils, you have the olive polyphenols. So if you take them together, and they're meant to be taken together, that's why we call it the health protocol. If you take them together, you have a better chance of increasing clept to help you fight inflammatory bowel disease, which is actually quite common in people living in a city or people who have what we call an industrial diet. So also, if you want your gut bacteria to be more diverse, you also want to be taking both. Of course, if you have a diet high in polyphenols, you will also have higher diversity. But then the best result is achieved through taking both polyphenols and omega-3 fatty acids. So what about if you just take omega-3? Well, you'll still get benefits because they have different benefits. Here in this study, the scientists compared fiber, like the ones you find in xenobiotic, and omega-3. And well, unsurprisingly, we know that the fibers will increase your butyric acid, butyrate, which we just talked about, the cancer-killing fatty acid, and then also valeric acid. Why is this important? We don't hear it very often, but then I'm sure you have heard of C. difficile or Clostridium difficile. It's a very difficult bowel disease where people have, they have irritable bowel syndrome. Many people have this, and it's actually associated with 20% of the antibiotic diarrhea. So if you take omega-3, you can actually increase the valeric acid in your gut, which means it can help your body fight this infection as well. So now you see you have fiber, you have the polyphenols, and then you have omega-3. That is why we put them together in the health protocol, because they work hand in hand with each other and they give you the maximum results and benefits. So you might be thinking, well, I know that fibers are good for me, but I can't take them because I get a lot of gas. Well, guess what? Yes, you might have a lot of gas, but there is something called a smart formula, and that's the one you see right here. This formula has 8 different fibers, and according to this study, if you put psyllium and inulin together, the gas produced will be significantly reduced. That's why we put them together. Everything is here for a reason. And if you look at this graph here, if you only have inulin, that's a lot of gas. But if you take them together, the amount, the volume of gas produced is greatly reduced. That was the first parameter. So you want to eat well. And next, after getting the nutrients in, you want to poop well. You want to remove the toxins, the waste products. And there are 2 sides to this coin. So there are people who don't have enough bowel movement, so they have difficulty pooping, so that's constipation. And then there are people who have no control over it, that's diarrhea. And let's look at what nutrients can help both situations. So again, we're seeing inulin. In this study, they found that healthy people who have chronic constipation benefit from taking inulin. Their stool frequency, which means they have more bowel movement, and also the stool was less hard, which means it was easier to pass. But if they take inulin, let's look at some graphs here. So stool frequency, you see that there was a statistical significance. By taking inulin, they had more bowel movement. And here we see a lower score is a higher satisfaction, which means higher satisfaction. So you see, it's also statistically significant here. By taking inulin, you will feel more satisfied about pooping. So that's what inulin can do for your body. And since we're talking about smart formula, we have in this formula, we have both inulin and FOS, which is fructooligosaccharides. In this study, they looked at some cancer patients and they gave them a ratio of 1:1, an inulin to FOS ratio 1:1, and they found that not only did their bowel movement increase, the number of bowel movements increased, they also decreased the watery stool that they had because of the radiation treatment that they were getting and because of the inflammation in their gut. So this can help in a lot of situations. If we look at the graph here, prebiotic, so in this case, inulin, watery stool decreased by 30%, but in a placebo situation, it actually became worse. And another very common situation we see in elderly people is, another group of people who have constipation is elderly people. And this study found that inulin can greatly improve their quality of life. If you look at these 2 graphs here, over a period of 25 days, at the beginning, like 28, almost 30% of these elderly people had less than 1 bowel movement per day. But then actually by the end of 25 days, almost 85% of them had at least 1 bowel movement per day. And then on the right is difficulty pooping. So at the beginning, more than half of them had difficulty going to the toilet. But then if you look at the progression here, actually by day 10, more than by day 11, actually, about 3/4 of the elderly people in this study had no problem pooping. So that is a great improvement. So you might be thinking, well, those clinical studies might just be isolated cases? Well, let's look at some statistics here. Here is a meta-analysis of different studies on constipation. They found that all these different indicators, including stool frequency, stool consistency, transit time means the time you spend on the throne, and also the hardness of the stool, they all improved with Enoline that you find in xenobiotic. Okay, so we've tackled the food you eat and how you get rid of the waste products. Then next, let's talk about moving well. So when we talk about moving well or mobility, we need to talk about your bone and joint health, of course. And we want to be able to move our body with ease and without pain. So that's what we'll be looking at. There are many, many nutrients or micronutrients that can help in this area, but I will be highlighting a few that are like star ingredients. The first one is vitamin K that the Japanese are getting all the time from eating natto. So it's vitamin K or MK7 that you find in Extent. They found that if they give MK7 to postmenopausal women, which means they are more at risk of having osteoporosis and bone problems. Their bone mineral content increased, the density increased, they had stronger bones, and they also had less of a chance of developing like slouching, so decreased loss of vertebral height. So they could stand straighter and they had stronger bones, and that's what vitamin K can help you with. The next mineral I want to talk about is magnesium that you also find here, but you can also find it in Xenoshine. So they found that women with osteoporosis, if they supplement with magnesium, in this case for 2 years, the bone density also increased. So bone density is very important. The next study is also about bone density because bone density means that it's actually a correlate of how hard, how strong your bones are. Well, surprise, Enoline can actually help you with your bones. Well, you probably did not expect this, but it turns out in this study on Japanese female athletes, when they took a Enoline drink, well, of course, the probiotics, the good bacteria increased, but they also found that bone breakdown decreased. Our body is very clever and it's always in a dynamic balance, which means it can detect the level of calcium in our blood. If the level drops, then our body will break down our bone and release the calcium and other minerals in our bones into the bloodstream. But this study found that if you take Enoline, well, then the bone breakdown, breaking down of bones will be decreased, which means that you will have stronger bones and higher bone density. And if you have it with FOS, fructooligosaccharides, together, it turns out that it can help you absorb calcium from your diet better as well. So in this study on adolescents who are at a developmental stage, they grow very quickly, very rapidly, and they need a lot of nutrients. So if you can increase their absorption, you can help them build stronger bones and a better physique. So it's very important if you have children, if you have adolescents at home, make sure that you give them what their body needs. And if you look at the comparison here, the fructan group, which means the Enoline and FOS group, they had much higher calcium absorption by 8 weeks. So it only takes 2 months. Okay, what about omega-3 fatty acid, which we talk about so often? We said, well, we want stronger bones, we want stronger joints, but what about people who already have pain, for example, osteoarthritis in their joints? Well, don't worry, actually, omega-3 fatty acids can also help. In this study, they found that Well, let's look at some graphs here. They found that omega-3 fatty acids can actually reduce the pain that they experience in their joints, in their bones, and across all different parameters of pain. And they also felt there was less burden because of the arthritis problem. And guess what? Their mood also improved because of this. Well, it's quite natural. You feel happier when you have less pain, right? So we've talked about three things: the food you eat, and then your bowel movement, detoxification, and then we talk about moving your body. Now let's talk about resting your body. So when we talk about sleep, we need to know, well, how do we measure sleep? We want to know how easily you fall asleep, how much sleep you get, and how rested you are after waking up. So omega-3 fatty acids, again, this is an emerging area of research. Scientists are now finding that people who don't have enough omega-3 fatty acids in their body, in their system, suffer from poorer sleep. So if you want to sleep better, make sure that you get enough omega-3 fatty acids. Well, how do I know if I have enough omega-3 fatty acids? It's very easy. It only takes 2 minutes to find out. Well, how? Take the balance test. It only takes 2 minutes, and then send it to Norway, and in about a week's time, you'll get your results, and then you'll know whether you have sufficient or insufficient levels of omega-3 in your blood. So in this study, they found that they had 2 groups. One was taking, well, there are 3 groups. One was taking a placebo, another was taking DHA, and another was taking EPA. And they found that the sleep efficiency improved, the sleep latency improved. What does that mean? Sleep efficiency. If you fall asleep as soon as you get on your bed, and then you leave your bed as soon as you wake up, then you have very high sleep efficiency, meaning it doesn't take you much time to fall asleep. And even after you've woken up, you can just jump into action right away without lying on your bed, not doing anything. So that's sleep efficiency. And sleep latency means the time it takes for you to fall asleep. So they are related. So you see, in both cases, DHA and EPA, they have better sleep efficiency than the placebo. And this is sleep latency. So it takes less time for you to fall asleep if you take DHA or EPA. And there's an interesting finding here. The scientists found that if you take EPA-rich supplement or more EPA, the participants felt that they were more rested and they were also more ready to perform their daily tasks. So my recommendation is take a balanced dose of both so you will enjoy both benefits. Okay, if we talk about sleep, there is one nutrient, one food that I must talk about, and that is saffron. What is saffron? Saffron is the stigma of a flower, and that's what gives paella its signature color. So saffron, well, it's actually the most expensive spice in the world, and if you want to have sufficient amount of it to have health benefits, you have to buy a lot. But guess what? There is actually a supplement available that has a standardized dose, and it's called Afrin, and it's found in Viva. So each tablet gives you 14 mg. So if you take 2 tablets a day, you get 28 mg, which is what a lot of studies use. So in this study on people who have sleep problems, they found that if they take saffron or Afrin, or in our case, Viva, they had much better improvements in sleep than people who were taking a placebo. Not only that, in another study, they found that, well, of course, it improved their sleep, but saffron also improved, it reduced their anxiety level and their depression level increase, help them to have better mood, and also to have more energy, less tired. So it's a very well-rounded supplement, nutrient for your health. If you want to sleep well, if you want to rest well, or if you want to feel well, which is what I'm going to talk about next, your mental and cognitive health. So when we talk about this, there are a few areas or a few factors. You want to have a good mood, you want to be happy, you want to be able to focus on the task at hand. So that's your concentration. And you want to be alert as well, not overly anxious, but you want to be alert in a calm way, and you want to be able to remember things well. So that's your memory. So we'll be talking about what nutrients can help you achieve these. So, well, we were just talking about saffron. So of course, we'll start with saffron. So the same extract, afrin, that you find in Viva helped these youth, these adolescents combat their mild to moderate anxiety and depression. The graphs are a bit small here, but it doesn't matter as long as you see the trend. The black lines refer to saffron, and the lighter one refers to placebo, the control. So you see, in all cases, the symptoms were much less with saffron or with afrin. So that's all you need to know. You just need to know that in all cases, Viva or Afrin can help you improve your anxiety, can help you improve your depression. And withdrawal here means withdrawing from social situations or being antisocial, which means which means someone who has mild to moderate anxiety or depression might not want to socialize with other people, but if they take this supplement, they will be less withdrawn, which means they will have more social activities, which can ultimately help them have better mental health. The next thing that can contribute to your mental health and your cognitive health is, of course, omega-3, as we've talked about before. So in this study that looked at young nurses who work in a hospital, which we know is a very stressful workplace, they found that omega-3 fatty acids, in our case, well, the EPA and DHA that you find in the balanced oils, can help these young nurses improve their mood even when they are stressed, even when they're working in such a stressful situation. Can you see the numbers here? So by week 52, the depression level dropped a lot compared with baseline, compared with at the beginning, and the anxiety dropped a lot as well compared with the placebo. Do you see the placebo number here? So it is a significant improvement as compared with people who don't take omega-3 fatty acids. And like I said at the beginning, there are many nutrients that can help you achieve all these things, and I will only be highlighting some. But then this study found that if you take a combination of different micronutrients, they can actually improve your mood significantly. And what's interesting is they can actually induce changes in the structure of your brain, which means your brain will be wired differently. It changes the circuit of your brain, which means you will have better memory. Even when you are in a, even if you are feeling tired, you will still be able to remember things better. And the micronutrients that they tested in this study can all be found in extent. For example, boron, calcium, zinc, and magnesium. So this is actually a very convenient way to get a wide spectrum of nutrients that all support your quality of life. So there are a few ingredients that I would like to highlight. The first one is curcumin, which is the active ingredient in turmeric. Turmeric is a rhizome. It's a root type of vegetable spice that the Indians and the Southeast Asians use a lot in their cooking, and which I love in my cooking as well. And they found that when you give turmeric to patients of Alzheimer's disease, they had more energy, they felt less agitated, which means they're more calm, they had less anxiety, and they also were warmer to people, and they were less angry as well. So it's an all-rounded nutrient for good mood. And what if you combine it with omega-3 fatty acids? Of course, you get more benefits, because both of them can help you fight inflammation in the brain, which we're talking about again. Inflammation is the root cause of most diseases of civilization. And in this particular study on migraine, which a lot of people suffer from, they find that if you take them together, you will be able to significantly decrease the attacks that you get, and you will be able to enjoy better quality of life, of course, because less pain, more enjoyment in life. And there's one more ingredient in the extend formula that I would like to highlight. We have broccoli extract in this formula. It's actually a wonderful, wonderful ingredient. The active ingredient is called sulforaphane. It's highest in broccoli sprouts. So if you want to have the maximum benefits, well, I recommend that you grow your own broccoli sprouts. So in this study, they found that when they gave sulforaphane to autistic boys and men for 18 weeks, their abnormal behavior improved, and they also became less irritable. They were calmer, and they were less hyperactive. So it basically normalized their behavior. And in another study, also using sulforaphane, they found that when they gave it to elderly people and at the same time gave them brain training, they were able to improve better. So they had higher processing speed, and the working memory also improved. So it's very important, especially for people who think that cognitive decline is a natural part of aging. It's not, because you can actually prevent it from happening altogether by taking good care of your body through good nutrition and exercise and good thoughts. Once again, we're coming back to fiber, which I love. So FOD, fructose oligosaccharide, which you find in xenobiotic. We talked about this disease earlier on, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, people who have very sensitive gut or digestive system. So if you give them this prebiotic, this fiber, they can actually decrease their anxiety and depression level, as well as increasing the good bacteria in the gut, of course. And now we know that the bacteria in our gut can communicate with our brain, which will determine how well we feel. So if you want to feel good, you want to be taking lots of fiber, like good amounts of fiber. So if we combine the two together again, like we do in our formula, and we see that its effects could actually be as fast as 4 hours. So in this study, they found that if you give these people fructose oligosaccharide and enoline, as fast as 4 hours, they start to feel happier, and they start to have better attention, focus, and they remember things better as well. So if you have an exam, or if you have a presentation, I would highly recommend that you take this beforehand to help you have better memory and to help you be in a better mood as well. And then another ingredient in the extend formula is beta-glucan, which I talked about last week and the week before. So in this study, they found 75 marathon runners. You know, after a marathon, your immunity is lower because of the strenuous exercise or the stress that you impose on your body. But they found that by taking beta-glucan, they had less tension, they felt less tired, they had a clearer mind, and they had more energy available to them as well. And in another study, they found that people who were stressed, if they take beta-glucan regularly, in this case, we see here on the left is a placebo, on the right is beta-glucan. And again, here a lower number means a better mood. So from the beginning, you see the improvement is cumulative. So by week 12, your mood is getting better and better and better. So like I said, these three supplements together are so powerful, which is why we call them the health protocol, because they work so synergistically together. So my recommendation is, if you're serious about leading a good life, if you're serious about having a good time when you are on earth, if you want to enjoy, if you want to eat better, if you want to cook better, if you want to move better, sleep better, and feel better, then these are the supplements that can really help, because they have been proven by science. But if you want me to rank them, then I think the most indispensable one is xenobiotic, because we see it come up again and again and again. If you can only choose one or if you want to take the first step towards a better quality of life, start with xenobiotic, and then slowly add these together, follow the whole health protocol. And if you still have resources, I highly recommend Viva as well. But if you're just starting out, make sure you get xenobiotic. It's a wonderful product because it's not just about the price. It's a very affordable, very reasonably priced product, which you cannot find. It's priced very competitively. But it's not just that, because it has 8 different fibers in this formula, which you cannot find anywhere on the market. I know, because I have compared so many different products in my own search. So if you can only choose one, take xenobiotic. It's so good for you in so many different areas. But if you're serious about it, do the whole health protocol. And if you want to take another step up, add Viva to the mix. So that's what I'd like to share with you today. And next month, we'll be talking about how to restore dewy, glowing skin. So thank you very much for tuning in today. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Shane, for the great presentation and information. We're also excited to start using the Cincino Health Protocol to get a better quality of life in 5 different areas. And if you haven't started yet and want to start now, you can contact any one of our Cincino partners, because they are also your health coach to get you started. Thanks again to everyone. We're looking forward to seeing you next Tuesday, same time. And about 10 minutes later, Shane will present the same topic in Mandarin. So please invite your Chinese friends to join. So until next time, please take care and take our health protocol, and wish you have a great evening. Thank you. Bye-bye.